But I have some rice with me. Now, how many people have eaten rice? Rice? Anyone who hasn't had rice? Nobody's? No, okay. So I'll show you, just for people who probably have never seen, thank you for the gentleman who handed me the rice, It looks something like this. I'll just hand it out, It looks like this. Can you see it? Can you see it? It looks like this. There's a lot of it that we eat in one day, in one meal, right? So what we do is, I want to tell you about how this rice is born. What is the journey of the rice? How does it come about? How does it come to us? And what do we do with it? This rice is, it's sown, it's harvested in farms. It's irrigated for ताकि वो ठीक से बन जाए. There is a lot of water, there's a lot of care that has to be taken just to make sure the rice is not spoiled. And ultimately, the rice is finally transported. Now the thing is, India does not have a good transportation system. Chandigarh is lucky because we have good roads here, but there's not a good transportation system. So what turns out is that out of 10, 4 pieces of such rice never even come to our doorsteps. Out of 10, think about them as friends. 10 friends. 4 of them never even come out to us. So we go to our supermarkets, we have this piece of rice in our house. 4 of them never even reach us. And even when it does, जितना भी राइस हमारे घर और हमारे रेस्टोरेंट्स में पहुंचता भी है, उससे इतना ज़्यादा खाना हम वेस्ट करते हैं. It's unimaginable. It's so unimaginable that if you file an RTI right now and you ask the government what amount it is, they can't put a value on it. They can only tell you how much it's worth, and that's a guesstimate. And they'll say it's plus minus 10,000 crores. Plus minus 10,000 crores. That's the amount of food that's wasted. So what happens technically is when this piece of rice does come out to our house, the 6 pieces of rice that do come out to our house, there's a lot that's wasted in restaurants, weddings. Punjabi weddings में बहुत खाना waste होता है. It's incredible, And then it's what's the irony here is that it turns out to be thrown in garbage bins. सबके घर के पास एक garbage bin होता है, So it's interesting to know जाता क्या है, होता क्या है इसका. So what happens is it's thrown near a garbage bin, and that's a place we sort of avoid. हम लोगों को बोलते हैं उस रोड से मत जाना क्योंकि वहाँ पर एक garbage bin का वो एक जगह है, and यहाँ से private and government vendors इस खाने को उठा के एक बड़े से लैंडफिल में जाके फेंक के आते हैं. Has anybody seen a landfill? Yeah, no, landfills are amazing places because they're like mountains these days. They're mountains. Yeah. So that's how food is thrown away. That's a photo of the largest landfill in India. That's tomatoes being thrown away, and that's a landfill. So technically you have to hire a truck so you can go on the top. It's like a hill. If you go on Missouri, if you go on any hill, that's how you need to go on the landfill. Now what happens is that piece of rice which came to our house, the 6 pieces of rice which came to our house, almost 2 or 3 of them are even wasted, and they go into that landfill. And what happens there is that it creates methane gas. Has anyone heard of this gas? It's deadly. It's deadly for the environment. It's a global problem. So what I'm here to do is I'm going to tell you about what I do. My name is Ankit Kawatra, and I'm going to be ending hunger in India in my lifetime. And that's a target I'm taking up, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, the fonts look different here. It was all nice when I made it. So I have some stats for you. There are tons of stats. Oh, itna problem in India. Oh, blah blah blah. I pulled out the ones which are nice. So you all know what we're talking about. 20 crore people, Indians, sleep hungry every night. Okay. I won't bother you too much. 1.3 million Indian children die every year. 365 days. 1.35 million children die every year. 42% of Indian children suffer from diseases related to malnutrition. That's almost 50%. That's almost half the children in India. And what you think about it is, ironically, 58,000 crores worth of food goes waste. And this is food that goes waste in our houses. In our own places. We go to weddings. Everyone's gone to a wedding. Everybody loves weddings. We all eat in restaurants. This is that food that gets wasted. And the fact that comes out is that 40% of all food in the world goes to waste. So here, I've just jotted them on one slide here. Okay. Those are the 3 points I mentioned about hunger, and here are the points about food waste. So here is when I used to work in a management consulting firm as a business advisor, a very boring job. And then I happened to come across this problem. I happened to come across this problem when I went to a wedding, and there were 35 cuisines of food. 35 type of khane khate. You will think about it: Indian, Spanish, French. How many can you name? There were 35 types of cuisines. Literally any dish you name, any drink you name, you will get it. वहाँ मिल जाएगी. तो मेरी माइंड में सिंपल सा ख्याल है, जैसे आता है काफी लोगों को, यार कि खाना तो मिल गया, बहुत ज़्यादा सही था, बट ये जो अगर बचेगा जाएगा कहाँ? सिंपल सा वैसे होता है. तो I thought I took it a bit too far. So I went to the caterer and I asked him, what is going to happen to this food? And he said that not just in his own wedding, the ones he's catering to, in every wedding, literally every wedding, in any part of the country. I'm not talking about a small problem here. I'm saying any wedding in any part of the country has food going to waste. And this is extra food. ये झूठा खाना नहीं है. I'm not talking about the food जो बर्तनों में extra ले लेते हैं. We take a lot of paneer, we take a lot of good things, and then we throw it out. That's another problem. But there's a lot of food which is actually extra. It's lying there in the dishes, but the caterer cannot take it back because he cannot reuse it on the next day. वो आज जो दाल बनी है उसको कल यूज नहीं कर सकता. करेगा तो उससे कोई point नहीं करेगा दोबारा. So he has to throw it away. And the thing is, in that wedding that I was at, it was a celebrity wedding, and there was food wasted for 10,000 people. 10,000 लोगों का खाना waste हुआ. So random thought came to my mind. We keep talking, oh my God, there's so much hunger in the world. So many beggars we see around us. There's so many beggars we see around us. When there's food already created, why don't we use it? I mean, think about it. If you have a phone battery lying at your house, and your phone runs out of battery and you need a new battery, you're going to use the one that's already in your house. You're not going to buy a new one, right? So why are we buying new food? Why are we नया खाना क्यों बना रहे हैं same problem को solve करने के लिए? For centuries, India में लोग hunger को problem solve करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. Centuries. So that's when I took this light back home and I switched off my lights and I said, okay, I need to talk, to myself. And when I started talking, I realized, one thing I've always had with myself is I have a feeling that I'm not going to live very long. I always get this feeling. And, a typical man's life is 60, 70 years. I have a feeling I'm not going to live that long, I don't know why. And I thought, okay, am I going to be, if there's a problem, my parents know it, everybody sitting here in the room knows it, there is a problem, I don't want to make an application, I don't want to run a business, I want to solve this problem. I want that people who are going to be your children read about hunger and food waste only in history books. And I want people that the next time you visit a person in another country, he doesn't say India, whatever. I want that to change, and that's a huge problem. The thing that happened at that night when I switched off the lights was, it was too big a dream. It was too big a dream for me to take because I am not from this background. मैं ये सब नहीं करता, मैं मैनेजमेंट का कोई काम करता था, and then that's it. So, but I thought if nobody is doing it, अगर कोई ये काम नहीं कर रहा, then why not I give it a shot? So I asked 10 people, and 10 people said it's a bad idea. So I thought, okay, now it's a good, it's a good thing because when people say it's a really, really bad idea, it's going to be amazing, right? So I thought, okay, you have to start now. So that's when I came up with the idea of, it's called Feeding India. That's what I do, and I left my job. Thank you. So I started Feeding India. I mean, not literally, but with the organization, right? And 2 months, I left my job. 2 months later, I told my parents it was a very bad conversation. It still is. Just about what are you doing? I mean, itna padhai kari, itna college mein acha kari. You went to the best colleges in the country, and then you suddenly leave your job. My colleagues used to think I'm a madman now. I'm not a job. I've lost the thing, But then I think this is something which is special, which is really, really special, and that's what kept me going. So the extra food that we pick up, हम normally क्या करते हैं? We'll go to weddings, we'll go to restaurant, we'll go to households. आपके घरों पे जाएंगे, आप एक single helpline number पे call करेंगे, and हमारे volunteers या हमारे लोग staff आकर इस खाने को pick up करेंगे, free of charge, zero money. And nothing, no money involved. We'll pick up that food and we'll donate it to a pre-planned partnered shelter home. So we'll give it to 3 kinds of people. People who cannot earn money on themselves. That's a big problem in India as well, right? If you give someone to something, he's not going to work then. So we give it to orphans. We give it to handicapped homes. We give it to old age homes. People who cannot earn for themselves. That's what we do. And we have this cycle. So this is how the process looks. Those are the containers on the left hand side. We pick up the food. These are all real photos. So we pick up the food, usually all volunteers at work, and that's how we donate food. We try to not give food on the road, never, because that's just propagating vagary, things like that. So we try not to give food on the road. So in 1.5 years, we started last year. Now we're in 28 cities, and we have 1,500 volunteers in 28 cities. So like most of the metropolitan cities that we name, plus other cities as well, and we fed close to 550,000 people till date. We're trying, we serve, now we've got to the point where we're serving 10,000 people a day, but that's nothing if you think about it. एक wedding में अगर 1,000 लोगों का खाना waste होता है तो कितना सारा खाना बचा है, right? So my target, even though my team tells me it's a very bad idea, is to expand to 100 cities by the end of this year. Basically, anywhere you go in the country, you can donate food with a call, and there's nothing else to do with it, right? The impact. जब हम खाना देते हैं किसी को, जब एक्स्ट्रा खाना किसी को जाके देते हैं, तो इससे बहुत सारे एक साथ अच्छे काम होते हैं जो हम रियलाइज नहीं करते. सबसे पहले जो खाना वेस्ट जा रहा था, वो उस बड़ा सा लैंडफिल मैंने दिखाया था उसमें नहीं जाता, राइट? सो इट गोज टू सबसे पहले तो वहाँ जाने से रुक गया. Number 2, it goes to people. There is a lot of hunger in the country and it should be solved this way. We do not need to create new food to feed people. We can only use the existing food that we have made in our own households to feed, to solve the problem of hunger. And so, in a sense, it has an environmental impact. जिन जगहों पे आप रह रहे हो वहाँ पर खाना डस्टबिन में नहीं जाता तो स्मेल नहीं करता. It is more livable, right? That's what we do. And again, obviously, it's humanity. We care, we love people, so we're doing it for the people. That's the job, right? So that's who I am. That's what I do. It sounds a bit crazy. It sounds a bit off there. You guys are looking really crazy to me now, but that's what we're going to do. Okay. Thank you. So I have the last line. Let me complete this. Yeah. So that's the motto. That's the motto. That's zero hunger. There is zero food waste, and if this allows me, there's zero food waste is equal to zero hunger. That's what my job is, right? Thank you.